Welcome to Daxon Recaps channel, and thank you for tuning in. It means a lot to me. Now let's get straight to our recap story. A brutal heist unfolds when an armored cash truck operated by Fortico Security moves through the city when suddenly, a cement truck blocks its path. A group of masked robbers emerges, swiftly breaking open the truck's doors and throwing in stun grenades, rendering the guards helpless. What they don't notice is a young boy sitting in a nearby car, watching the entire event unfold. When the robbers finally spot him, they force him out of the vehicle. Trembling with fear, he attempts to call his father, but his father is already on the phone. Powerless to resist, the boy follows their orders to lie face down on the ground. As the robbers transfer the stolen cash, one of the guards fights back, managing to rip off a robber's mask. In response, the thief shoots him dead to protect his identity before proceeding to execute the remaining guards. Then, without hesitation, they turn the gun on the boy. Watching from a distance, his father, Patrick Hill, sees his son's murder and charges toward the robbers in a desperate attempt to stop them, but he is shot down before he can intervene. As he fades into unconsciousness, he catches a glimpse of the shooter's scarred face. Miraculously, Patrick survives, but he spends 3 months recovering in the hospital. The pain of his son's death fuels him with a single purpose: revenge. Once healed, he applies for a job at Fortico Security, the same company his son worked for before being killed. Upon his hiring, the manager, Terry, informs him that he will replace the fallen guards but must first pass a series of training tests. Struggling with the firearms assessment, Patrick barely makes the cut, earning the nickname H from his new colleagues. Among his co-workers, he meets Hollow Bob and Boy Sweat Dave. On their first assignment together, nothing unusual happens. However, during their next job, an armed group ambushes their truck. The robbers order H to place the money bags into their vehicle. Instead, he deliberately drops one. "Sorry, pal," he mutters before swiftly pulling the trigger, killing one of the attackers. H's violent response sparks an internal investigation. While Terry is concerned about his aggressive methods, the company's CEO, Blake Halls, is impressed. "What you did deserves credit. You're a real hero," Blake tells him, hinting at a possible promotion. Meanwhile, H is asked to review security footage from the original robbery to determine if he recognizes anyone. He lingers on one masked figure but ultimately claims nothing seems familiar. 3 months pass. While transporting cash with Bullet, another guard, H's truck is blocked by a bicycle. Suddenly, armed gunmen appear, surrounding them. Smoke grenades are deployed, forcing Bullet to exit the vehicle. However, when H steps out and the gunmen see his face, they immediately retreat without taking any money. The abrupt decision baffles Terry. "So let me get this straight, they just walked away?" he asks, unable to comprehend the situation. Blake silences him, assigning H to lead his own security team. That night, Bullet shares his thoughts with Boy Sweat Dave. H is a dark soul, he warns. Meanwhile, H breaks into the home of a security guard, Dana. Upon discovering stolen cash in her apartment, he interrogates her, firing shots to instill fear. She confesses, revealing she had taken money from a job months ago. H shows her photos of her grieving parents, warning of severe consequences if she lies. The story flashes back to 5 months earlier. H and his son, Dougie, enjoy a vacation in the United States. Then, a call changes everything. His former criminal associate, Mike, reaches out. The leader of a gang H once worked with, Mike asks for help with one last job. "You don't even need to be involved, just stand back 1,000 yards, he reassures. H and Dougie unknowingly drive near the location of the heist. As H steps out to buy food, tragedy strikes. He watches helplessly as robbers gun down his son. H is critically wounded and falls into a coma for nearly 3 months. When he finally wakes, he learns the devastating truth: Dougie is gone. His ex-wife, Jane, blames him for their son's death. H turns to Mike and his gang, demanding answers. "I need to know who pulled the trigger. I want a name," he growls. The organization scours the criminal underworld, torturing criminals for information. Eventually, a name emerges. The perpetrators are revealed to be former Afghan war veterans, men discarded by society after their service. Their leader, Jackson, plans their heists with military precision. One of his key men, Jan, the one who murdered Dougie. As the crew prepares for their biggest heist yet, stealing over $150 million, tensions rise. Some members grow uneasy about Jan's reckless nature, but Jackson assures them he will stay in line. Meanwhile, H, now knowing the identities of his enemies, waits for his moment to strike. The day of the final heist arrives. Jackson's crew, dressed in heavy bulletproof gear and tactical helmets, moves into position. Inside the armored facility at Fortico Security, H and his colleagues prepare for what they assume will be a routine cash transfer. Unbeknownst to them, Bullet, their trusted co-worker, has been the crew's inside man all along. As the truck departs, Bullet signals the others, and within moments, chaos erupts. A sudden roadblock forces the truck to stop. Smoke grenades are deployed, filling the air with a dense, choking fog. Gunmen emerge from the haze, surrounding the vehicle with military precision. Bullet steps out, feigning confusion, only to immediately disable the security cameras and open the truck doors for the attackers. H watches in silence as the betrayal unfolds. Bullet turns to him with a warning. "They'll kill you if you don't comply," he says. H doesn't move. He knows what's coming. As the doors open, the armed crew storms in, weapons raised. The guards are forced to the ground, their hands behind their heads. Jackson's men move swiftly, securing the money. Everything is going according to plan, until one guard panics and reaches for the emergency button. The first gunshots ring out. One of the guards is executed on the spot. Bullet and Jackson's men immediately shift into their combat formations. They knew there would be casualties, but now they have to work faster before SWAT arrives. H, still on his knees, watches carefully. His heart pounds, but his mind is clear. He's been waiting for this moment. He knows this crew's tactics, their movements, their weaknesses. With a sudden, explosive motion, he lunges forward, grabbing a downed attacker's gun. Before the man can react, H slams him into the ground, twisting his arm until he hears the sickening pop of a dislocated shoulder. The gun fires wildly into the ceiling. That's the signal. The remaining guards scramble for cover, exchanging fire with the attackers. Bullets tear through the air. The walls rattle with the impact of high-powered rounds. One by one, the Fortico guards fall. H takes cover behind an overturned metal crate. His breath is steady, his grip on the stolen gun tightens. He peeks out, scanning for his true target, Jan, the man who killed his son. Bullet, still pretending to be on H's side, approaches him. "Give me a gun," he demands, breathing hard. H tosses him a weapon, watching his every move. Bullet grips it tightly, then, without hesitation, turns and shoots Dana, one of their remaining guards, in the head. The other guard barely has time to react before Bullet kills him too. H watches coldly. He expected this. "You chose the wrong side," H says quietly. Bullet smirks. "No, I chose the winning side." Before Bullet can fire again, H moves first. With a lightning-fast motion, he kicks a metal panel into Bullet's legs, throwing him off balance. In the same motion, he raises his gun and fires. Bullet stumbles back, clutching his side as blood seeps through his tactical vest. The robbers grab the last of the money and rush toward their escape route. Jackson, now injured with a bullet graze on his neck, growls orders at his men. "Move, we don't have time." H staggers to his feet. Blood drips from a wound on his shoulder, but he doesn't feel it. His eyes are locked on Jan, who is moving toward the exit. Outside, SWAT units move in, sirens wailing. Helicopters hover overhead. H knows this fight isn't over yet. Jan may have escaped for now, but he won't run forever. And when the time comes, H will be waiting. Days later, Jan sits alone in his apartment, surrounded by cash. His phone rings. He turns. H stands before him. Without a word, H tosses Dougie's autopsy report onto the table. Jan reads it, realizing too late what's about to happen. H executes him methodically, one shot to the liver, another to the lungs, then the spleen, and finally, the heart. The same way Dougie was murdered. Justice has been served. H leaves the apartment, meeting Agent King outside. The job's done, he states coldly. As King discusses the possibility of recovering the stolen money, H simply walks away. He climbs into a waiting car, and moves on disappears into the night. His revenge pill is duly served. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and support me to grow this channel. Put down your comments below to let me know what you think about the events in this recap story. And also give my video a thumbs up, and share too for others to enjoy. See you on my next video. Bye for now.